breaking news. 4 Palestinians have reportedly been killed this afternoon during an Israeli military operation in the West Bank city of Jenin. One of them is allegedly the terrorist who murdered 2 Israeli brothers in the Palestinian town of Huwara just last week. The IDF says troops are operating in the Jenin refugee camp as we speak to arrest the terrorist who carried out the shooting attack. Joining us on the phone right now is our correspondent Pierre Clochenler, who is in the West Bank on his way to the site of this operation. Pierre, what do we know so far about this operation?
Well, there are very sketchy details between unconfirmed reports that you mentioned about 4 Palestinians that have been killed, including the terrorist who killed 2 Israeli settlers in the town of Huwara, which is north of Nablus, last Sunday. But we don't know yet. We don't have a confirmation from the army. On the Palestinian side, we're already talking about 2 people that have been killed. One of them would be, according to Palestinian reports, the son of a prominent official of Jenin. The incursion into the Jenin refugee camp is still going on with helicopters, bulldozers, a lot of troops, some of them undercover, some of them swapped from the Israeli police, and a building, a 5 or 6 story building, has been encircled by the Israelis. They're using the pressure cooker tactic of inflicting pressure via missiles and bulldozers on the people that are, on the militants that are supposed to be trapped into the building. And in parallel, there's also another military incursion by the Israeli armed forces in the Askar refugee camp in Nablus, where 2 wanted Palestinians have also been arrested, according also to Palestinian reports. So right now, in the flood of this double-barreled Israeli incursion, one in the refugee camp of Jenin and the other in one of the refugee camps of Nablus, there is ongoing activity at this moment, and we don't have confirmation from the army, apart from a very terse statement from the Israeli Defense Forces that is just saying that there is an incursion inside the refugee camp of Jenin at this moment.
All right, Pierre, I'd like to thank you for joining us. We'll have you with us on I-24 News later in the day. I'd like to turn now to our correspondent, Hamda Salhout, who's here in the studio with us right now. So what kind of response are we hearing from the Palestinian community in regard to these reports?
Natasha, good afternoon. A lot going on. We are hearing from the Al-Quds Brigades, that is the PIJ military wing, as well as the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigades, that's Fatah's military wing, saying both of their mujahideen are engaged in violent clashes with the occupation forces in the Jenin refugee camp. It is worth noting that daytime raids like this happen when there's direct intelligence to capture these individuals. Precise location. Daytime raids are not really preferred because there's a lot of civilians around. There's a lot of collateral damage that could happen. Heavy gunfire still reported there. A helicopter even landing 3 anti-tank missiles fired toward the house where the IDF says was the hideout of these individuals. 4 killed so far, several injured. The Red Crescent, that's the Palestinian Emergency Medical Services, says that one of their ambulances was actually fired on trying to get to the scene. Because it's an active operation, there's still a lot going on. Calls on loudspeakers of mosques going on to confront Israeli forces that are in the camps. You should also know that when mosques are using the loudspeaker, which is primarily used to announce the call to prayer, to announce that there's something happening in their camp, it's pretty serious to let the entirety of the vicinity know that something like this is ongoing.
All right, well, we are going to have you back with us in the studio later on, Hamda, as we receive more information and more updates on this latest report. Thank you for joining us.